There we go. Now I look not blurry. So there we go. So on the weekend, I posted a post that said, oh, then I got blurred. Who wants to scrap lift this page? So it was posted on, I think both the Facebook page and the Instagram page from Close to My Heart. So I thought I would play around with it and figure it out, and so we could scrap lift it today. So I did do a few things beforehand because it required some stamping and stuff like that, and some of that takes some time. And so I'm just going to give it a second here and see if it clears up. I'll just talk to you a little bit first, just about some things that are going on, because it is the month of December. So everybody should remember that if there's things from the Seasonal Expressions Idea Book that you want, this is the time to start to order them. Things will start to sell out in the next little while, and everything is while supplies last. On top of that, they also started a new campaign on December the 15th, and it's called Heart Happy. And there's a whole pile of products that go with it. It's obviously like love or Valentine's Day themed. Just one sec. And so I thought I would just talk about it a little bit. So there are different products available, and so they're all available through my shopping website at Chris Robertson at closetomyheart.ca. So there is it's just, I wanted to clear up a few things. So there's a couple of kits available. There is a paper kit. Good morning, Alice. Bundle. So, but I just wanted to talk about that for that 2 seconds. So I've already ordered my stuff, and my supplies should be here this week, and then I get to play with it. But so now we're going to create the layout from that was posted on the corporate Instagram and Facebook page. So I'm going to add a few things, and like I said, I did some of this ahead of time just for sheer fact of you didn't want to watch me stamp and fussy cut, etc. So the one thing that I did so far is I've grabbed a piece of New England ivy for the background, because I think there was a little bit of a border on it, and so the paper is then on top. The whole thought of the layout is that they wanted to show you that you can use mix-ins with a variety of different things. I'm just going to pull up the photo again. So we've got some Halloween in here from Hello Pumpkin. We have some Grateful Heart, and then this is from Mix-Ins, and so is the background piece. And we're going to use a Christmas stamp. So it's a whole bunch of a little bit of everything. So like I said beforehand, I grabbed my stamp set, and it uses the Christmas Countdown Holiday stamp set. There we go. Now I've gone clear. I don't know what it is. Anyway, So we're going to move on. So there are a few, like I still have to do a little bit of stamping on the background because this Merry Making gets stamped behind the photographs. But we're just going to start to assemble it. And I printed off 2 3x4 photographs, and I just matted them on white cardstock, and I added a little doodle behind it. And the other thing that I did do beforehand, because I wanted it to dry, is you'll notice that there was splatter in each corner. And the reason that they do that is to draw your eye from one side of the scrapbook page to the other. And I used the black shimmer brush, and you just flick it onto the page. I just wanted it to dry before I started because I'm going to be dragging a whole pile of stuff through it, and I didn't want to smear it all over the place. And so let's start. First, let's look at the photo again. Okay. So the photos are going to go, I'm just going to try and figure out where I want my photos here. So this is like photos from like a Christmas tree, one of those Christmas light displays. So I'm just going to put my photo up here in front of me. It's probably going to turn off a few times, but I just want to try and gauge where I'm going to put everything. Before, I'm going to start by putting down this piece first, and I just kind of want to decide how far up I want it. So I'm just going to actually also grab my Versamat, because we're going to stamp on the background. So, and it makes it so easy to figure out measurements. So I think we're going to put this about here probably. So I'm going to put it about 4.5 inches from the bottom. Okay, let's grab some tape runner. So this is a piece, like I said, from the Mix-Ins, and it kind of just looks like little white circles, and there's different, it almost kind of looks like the lights. That's why that's what the pictures I picked. And then this strip is also from the Mix-Ins, so it's got the wood grain on one side and then the green branches on the other side. So I cut this at 1/2 inch. So the whole point of, I thought it would be fun to show you that it's super easy to just play around with the things that they're posting for creative ideas, and not necessarily are you going to want to do exactly the same thing. So like I said, I'm just going to add it about 4.5 inches from the bottom. I think it might be a little bit high, but that's okay. And then, so on here, next they had a green strip that was stitched, and I actually have a sewing machine that is just for paper, and I pulled it out yesterday, and I tried to get it to work, and there was no way. It was not working yesterday for whatever reason. So instead I used the thin cut border that just has the double stitched lines on it, and so I just ran that over this piece of New England Ivy, and this is 1/4 inch, and then the white piece is, I cut it at 1.5 inches by 12 inches. And I'm just going to add this. I just stuck the thin strip down to the white strip first, just to make it easier to add to my page. And then above that, they had a row of the fern stitched ribbon, which is so pretty. The fern is just subtle. I had to grab a new roll because I didn't have any out. So I just need to get my, there's like just like a plastic covering on it. I just need to take that off. Okay, so I am just going to add that here. And let me just take a look. I think that there's a little bow on it too. So I'm going to add that after a little knot. I'm just going to leave it as a straight line for right now. And a little bit of adhesive across. Sorry, I can hear one of the dogs behind me who has decided that maybe he would like to take a nap on the tissue paper. I started wrapping gifts finally yesterday, and so I have a whole wrapping station set up because I hadn't actually wrapped anything yet. But the tissue paper I had just lying on the couch because I was wrapping up some stuff at the end, and he thought maybe that would be a good spot to lie down. So I'm just going to adhere the ribbon onto the back of the page just with a little piece of washi tape. You could also use Scotch tape, whatever you have lying around. Okay, and at this point I'm going to flip this over because I'm going to lay these out and do the little bit of stamping. So this is also from that same stamp set. So it's the Christmas Countdown Holiday, which is D1799. And so I cut this piece of paper at 3 inches by 3 inches, and I colored in the little heart with the Carmine Shinhan marker. And I just added a little doodle line behind it. And so, and then all of these, I've just cut them at 3 by 4, the extra pieces that I'm just going to tuck into all the spots. So this is from Grateful Heart. This is a piece of Glacier that I've pulled out. And then this is a piece from the Hello Pumpkin. And so I'm just gonna fiddle with this a little bit. I'm not exactly sure. I maybe should have moved this down a little bit, but that is okay. Just because I want to do the stamping on the background. So, there we go. I think I'll do it something like this. So the colors of ink that I pulled out were, so I grabbed New England Ivy, and you'll see it's stamped. I think there's first and second generation, and then Candy Apple, and then I pulled out Sage, and I think that the spots where I use Sage, they actually use second generation Fern. But they totally went fine. And then I have just regular black and Fern. So I've done lots of the stamping in black, and then some of the accents in the New England Ivy or the Fern and first and second generation stamping. And then for the holly leaves that get tucked in, there were lots of different variations that I tried, and I actually really liked the Sage with then the New England Ivy stamped on top for the veins and the detail of the leaves. So that's what I have here. And then you could do the little trees in first or second generation fern. So this is the first generation. And then here's the second generation. So you can see I've just stamped it once and then stamped it again, and it's a little bit lighter. So that's what I'm going to use over here. But you could play around with it totally depending on what your photographs are and which you prefer. So these, and I made these I think a little bit bigger than theirs were, just because I wanted to add an outline and I wanted to be able to add a little bit more journaling on them. So there we go. And then the red, I picked the candy apple to go with them. And then, so for the top cluster, I have a piece of New England ivy, and it is 3/4 of an inch by 3 inches. And you'll notice for the background, for the border that I added, the 1/4 of an inch, I used the lighter side of the cardstock. That's the advantage of the two-tone cardstock. Kind of like the same concept as the second generation stamping. And then this is a scrap. This is the piece from the Grateful Heart, and it's got the wood grain on the back. And I cut this one at 1/2 inch by 3.5 inches. So I'm going to put that one here. And then this Holiday Highlights is from that stamp set, and I've just stamped it on white and cut it out. And then here is the tree with the line on it, and that I've cut out with fern. And then I wanted a little pop of the red up here, so I have also cut out a candy apple star, and I just fussy cut it. And then the other thing that's on here is a piece of fern cardstock, and I just stamped the Christmas memories on it. So that's going to go over here. And then I have 2 hollies. I do have 2, oh, here it is. And then, so I think this will be how it's gonna go. So, and then I'm just gonna add some of this silver embossing thread in too in a second, and some of the silver glitter gems. Okay, so now I have the Merry Making stamp on my block, and I'm going to stamp it. So it's just kind of, they have it kind of double stamped over on the side here, and probably in first and second generation. So I'm just moving this down so that I know. So I just have my fern ink. I need to stand up. So you can see they just have it kind of tucked behind the mat from the Grateful Heart. So I'm just going to stamp it a couple times over here. And kind of, this is almost perfect if it doesn't work out perfectly, because that's kind of the look of the stamping. So there's first and then second generation for the fern. Okay, so now all I need to do is stick it down. So first I'm going to start with this cluster up here. So I'm going to add the New England ivy. And you just want it far enough over that you can add your other layers in. Now I'm going to take the piece from the Grateful Heart. So yes, yesterday morning I finally decided that I needed to put all my Christmas stuff and start wrapping. Decide if I needed to grab anything more. And it literally took me all morning to wrap gifts. So I'm going to add some foam tape behind that holiday highlights just for a different dimension. And these are just the foam tape from the inside of the shaker cards, like the shaker acetate windows and squares. So, just peeling off the back. Yeah, so I did discover I think I still need to do a little bit more shopping, which should be oh so fun this week. And then I'm going to just tuck the Christmas tree in here, I think. And I think I'm going to put him flat. So I'm just going to add glue dots. Okay, but before, I think I'm going to add a little bit of the silver embossing thread up there. Just kind of winging it. So I love, as anybody that has seen my workshops knows, I love this thread. So I'm just going to create like a little bundle to put up in the corner. And so I just kind of wrap it around my fingers a few times. And I really want it messy. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And at different levels. So when you just pull it, you automatically end up getting different size circles. I'll just trim off the extra. I'm just going to add a glue dot behind it. I seem to be at the end, of course. I do think I have another little pile. So I'm just going to try. Now everything's getting stuck to me. I'm just going to see if I can lift this up a little bit without ripping everything. And I'm just going to tuck it underneath quickly. And we'll pretend like I didn't even do that. There we go. So I'll probably fix that up a little bit after. And then I'm going to add my Christmas tree here. And the little star I'm going to add up here, and I want it on a little foam square. This is just a thin one, so it's just a different level than the holiday highlights that I put on. There we go. Okay. Crazy to know, we're almost finished. So now I'm going to add the Grateful Heart mat. So these pictures are just from last year, so I'm thinking that's probably not that bad to be adding them to a page already this year. Okay, and the glacier. So I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive, and then I can actually I have a little bit of time to be able to move stuff around if I need to. So, see, and then the merrymaking just kind of just pokes out just a little bit. You can probably hear my dryer buzzing in the background. That I normally try and come on about 10 o'clock, but I got distracted folding laundry and all of a sudden realized it was like 20 after 10. So there we go. So on top of this, I have a couple of last minute gift ideas that I'll come back on this week and do instead of a product of the week. I just thought that might be a handy little thing instead of necessarily focusing on a single product. Okay, so now I'm going to add the journaling strips on here. So like I said, I cut them bigger than, oh yeah, I need to add this on here too. I cut them bigger than I think that they have, just because I wanted a little bit more room to journal. I also stamped the red berries, and I think I might add them in here too. We're just gonna see. There we go. Okay, now where am I going to add another couple of little bundles? So I'm just going to cut a length. And again, I'm just wrapping it around my fingers, and just pick however big a bundle you want, how many ever layers you want. And every single time it turns out differently. So you could totally do this with different colors, a different stamp set. The whole point of it is that it's easy to mix up the papers. And like I've mentioned before, I'm not sure if you have noticed, but our latest idea book is about color theory. And there's lots of combinations in there that totally surprise me, but totally work. So I think I'm going to move that over there and put this here. I'm going to pop this up on foam tape, and you can see that with the Shinhan marker that there is color come through, so always be careful when you're coloring that you have something to protect your surface. And no different than when you do like the splatter with the shimmer brush. I pulled out my all-purpose mat so that I knew that I wasn't getting it all over my desk or whatever I had underneath. Okay, and I'm going to tie a little, just a knot. And I'm just gonna, I make it super loose. If you want it tighter later, you can always make it tighter. And you can always make it bigger and then trim it down, depending on your space. I'm actually going to put it over here this way and put this over here. Okay, there we go. Now I'm just going to do one more little nest for over here on this side of the page. And then we will just glue the rest down and it's all done. So, if you have any questions about the measurements, I'd be happy to answer them. They're super easy. All the mats I cut at the same. I think I cut them all at 3x4. I cut them the same as the photographs. But like I said, it just depends on the size of your photos. You could do the same thing with bigger photos, with 4x6 photos, and they just take up more of your layout. There we go. Okay. Careful, don't do what I just did. I totally just cut myself with my scissors. So just remember, they're sharp. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna, just one sec. I just don't want to end up bleeding on my page. Okay, so I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up here. Oh, you guys, I'm going to have to grab a Kleenex. One sec. Oh, the fun of scrapbooking live. Because of course I would cut myself. Well, now you can see how I can make an impromptu band-aid with Kleenex and washi tape too until I'm done. There we go. Okay, now I won't bleed on my project. Okay. Never a dull moment, you guys. Never a dull moment. Okay, again, I'm going to take my bundle to the glue dot, and oh, look at that, I have just enough glue dots to finish. Just gonna pull it off with my piercing tool. And I'm going to put my tree on a couple of foam dots. Yeah, so never forget that your scissors are sharp. And this one I'm going to put on a little bit higher foam. And so too, I have these pieces from the Hello Pumpkin. They were dispersed on the layout too. So this is what I had left. So we're going to see what we're going to do here. I kind of thought that actually both the shapes went, the heart and the stars. So I actually, it's funny, when I first saw these, I actually wasn't really paying attention to them. And I thought, oh wow, look, you get two different colors. I wonder which way I'll glue them down. And I thought I had to actually glue them down. But they're adhesive backed. I should really read more carefully sometimes. So these are adhesive backed. You just pull off the backing to add them. So I actually think I'm going to add a star down there. So, and I have a little red star somewhere for up here. I can cut out another one because I still have another one, but I did do that already. Okay, let's add the title on. You can also pull these off with your piercing tool just to get the wax backing off. Okay, one more dot. And I'm just going to pop this up with just thin foam tape. Sorry, this my wound has now seemed to slow me down. So okay, so hopefully I can cut out another star without cutting myself. Can't actually believe I did that. You guys. Just because I want the red kind of in a few spots. Sorry, even with doing all this stuff ahead of time, it seems to be taking a while. Okay, there we go. I think though, see, I knew the second I cut it out, I would find it. It just got flung off my desk area. So, just gonna add my bow. So I find the easiest way always to take your embellishment to your glue dot. So there we go. So these just peel off. Now this, I know I'm going to need my piercing tool for. So there's just like everything else, there's a wax papery cover on it, and you just pull it off. And of course it is proving far more difficult than it needs to be, because that just seems to be, there we go, the way things are going today. Okay, and I'm going to pop the present up on a square. And I'm just going to tuck these holly in with glue dots. And I'm going to add the heart. Oh yes, far better. And I'll add this star with a glue dot. Okay, we're in the home stretch now. And I'll peel off the backing here. So I'm just going to add a few silver accents and then I'm done. So I was thinking you could add the loose sequins on here if you wanted in the white, just add a little bit of sparkle. But for speed's sake, because I'm now taking a long time, I think I'm just going to add the silver glitter gems in a few spots. So if you guys have any questions about the Happy Heart or Heart Happy campaign, just ask. And I hope you guys are having a good Monday. And we'll just finish up here. I'll add some probably detailed photos here on my page too. There we go. One more. Okay, so here's a close-up of this cluster. Like I said, it's the stamp set called Christmas Countdown. And so this is from the Hello Pumpkin. They're the shapes. And this is from the stamp set. Some Grateful Heart paper. This I used fern. And then for these, I stamped them with the Sage ink and the New England Ivy. The little silver thread cluster. There's the fern ribbon on here. And like I said, I used the border to make the stitching. And then we got some first and second generation stamping. And then also don't forget about the splatter with the black shimmer brush. So there you go. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Bye bye.